Do you like my YouTube videos? If you do, please leave a comment and actually click on the like button. And if you want, you can hit subscribe. That way you can stay up to date with all my YouTube videos. Hey, and go ahead and click that bell icon to be notified. Thanks. Take care, guys. What's up, everybody? How's it going? I love how you guys interact in the comments, and one of the things that seems to always happen is if there's a reptile that I don't feature for a while, the questions are, hey, where's this? You know, how's he doing? And some of them have been, where's the ball python? Well, as you know, my ball python, when I rescued her, she had that damage to her chin, and then she was only eating live, and she was shedding, but in a lot of pieces, a lot of small pieces, which sometimes can happen for large snakes, but for a small ball python, you usually never have that trouble. So normally that's humidity, and to get your humidity correct and really dial it in, get it to the exact percentage that you need. Ball pythons, they typically have a range, 50 to 60% humidity, but every snake is a little bit unique as well, even without the breed. So with Nagini, I am happy to report, per the title, the first complete shed. Look at that. It is awesome. And this is really rare too, though, because her eyes were really blue. She didn't look like she was shedding other than her eyes. And then I found this in the cage. This is awesome because this has shown me that I was able to really get the humidity right at about 55% for her to put out this perfect shed, which is just really nice. And guys, sometimes a lot of people will ask, how can I get a snake's humidity correct? Well, we'll look at that, and then we'll look at the shed, and then we'll look at her. But guys, it's typically not hard. So, right, humidity is moisture. The problem is a lot of people think, oh, I've got a water bowl in there. That's it. The humidity is going to be fine. Well, wrong, since that stagnant water doesn't really release a lot of humidity since it's so much. Now, yes, you can put, if that were to go on a heat mat or the upper heat directly over it, you can get some of that evaporation and get humidity. But most of the time, it's just done by misting the bedding. The thicker you make the bedding, the more moisture it can hold, so the more humidity that it can release. Have a good layer of bedding and spray the bedding. And then just have something in there that monitors the humidity, and then you know where you have to put it. The other thing is, a lot of times, they have a screen top. So if you find that your humidity is still low when you're doing that, just cover more of the screen. Cover up to, you don't want to cover it all because you need air to be moving, but if you were to cover 80% of this screen and just leave a spot open, 10% here and 10% on that other side so that you could get air, in one, out the other, in one, out the other, and just get it moving. But that humidity will raise up, and what you'll see most of the time is water form on the top of the screen. Like if you use like a piece of plastic sheeting like I did with my frog, you'll see it build up in there. So that's an easy way to control humidity. And then if you notice, oh, well, her humidity is starting to spike too high. Well, if you have just, that plastic, you can just move it, right? You could fold it, you could do whatever, you could take some of it off if it's in pieces. You just open more of the screen, which would let more humidity escape. So have a good bedding, moisturize that bedding, and control the top. Now, some people will say, well, what about snakes that are kept in racks? Or, because yes, you can keep snakes on paper towel or newspaper or just the glass of the tank. Those are all things you can do. They make controlling the humidity much harder when you don't have a substrate that you can use to hold humidity. But you can do it with that by still closing the top, having a water bowl, and having some type of heat source over or below the water bowl that will let humidity just leach out of that water bowl. So it's doable. It's a little bit harder, and I don't think it's as great for the snake personally. Let's take a look at the shed. Then we'll take a look at Nagini herself. we'll go into this. Now, this shed here, like I said, I am so excited for this shed because this is the first full shed that she's done with me. And obviously it's, you know, it's balled up because she curled up because she's a ball python, but I don't see many rips. Now, the snake will always rip at the mouth where it starts, you know, and then as she slides out of it, but let's see if we can really get this amazing shed opened up here and try. Now, the nice thing is it doesn't look like she's gone to the bathroom in it. Sometimes snakes will relieve themselves while shedding, and then it's unfortunate because then you got a huge mound of poo in your shed, and especially if you get a nice shed, then it's ruined by a huge piece of poo. There's a little bit of forest bedding in there, some of this mulch, away it goes. Okay. Very good. We're getting there. There we go. Okay. Oh, this is just, what a good shed. This is a good way to know that your snake is healthy, and like I said, that you really have the temperature and humidity just set exactly where it needs to be. Now, some people will use the shed to measure how long the snake is, and that's not accurate, right? Because the shed stretches. Like, look at this, you know, it stretches in and out, and the shed is not going to be an accurate measure. It's going to be close, but it's not going to be accurate of how big the snake is. Normally it's a little bit larger. All right, this is probably the back. Now, things will happen, guys, too, when your snake is shedding sometimes where, you know, you do have the humidity correct, but the snake is still going to have rips in the shed. That could be possible. Like you saw, I took some of the mulch out of here, so it's very possible that as your snake is moving, stuff in the environment pinches the shed, rips the shed. I mean, it's very thin. It's very, you know, easy to rip. If, like I said, if it's a larger snake, the chances of the shed being whole are pretty small because the snake is so big as it's moving. There's just so much shed coming off that it'll just rip, and it's hard to keep a larger snake in a perfect humid environment because the snake is just so large. All right, so this is up here. This is the head area. It's where it's ripped off, where she started coming through it, and the feel of it is so nice. But if you look, this is kind of what's cool too, because sometimes people don't get really how different, even when you hold a snake and even when you look at a snake, sometimes because the snake has patterns and are different colors, people don't really understand how different the top of the snake is. Look at these, like, very small, very fine, scales as they're going down. There's no bumps. They're all nice compared to the bottom, which has just, I mean, you can see right away these big scales, and they're not as smooth, and if you were to pet them going backwards, you would get caught on them. A lot of times, just people don't realize that. They don't know that the bottom of the snake, the stomach, with this huge scales, feels much different than the top, which is right next to it. I mean, look at the look. Small, micro, huge. So this shed is cool. This is the first full perfect shed, perfect, quote unquote, that we can get. Let's go ahead and find Nagini. And I really like, guys, that you're coming along 100. Oh, there she is, 100% of the way with her, because you saw me bring her in. You saw the transition to fully frozen thawed, which is what she's doing now. She has not had live in 2 feedings. She's gone right after the frozen thawed every time I bring them in, and let's just see how perfect she is. Oh yes, good. And she's of course going to be active and want to explore and do everything. Let's bring this up. Hi, where are we going? And she's just taking off. She's just going on down the tank, but we're going to let her just crawl out over my hand here. I have my hand, my other hand is on the bottom, and I'm feeling for any type of stuck shed. I didn't feel any stuck shed along the whole way, because if you did, you could see if it's loose enough to come off, or do you need to soak the snake. But I didn't feel any of that. Hi, can you come back, Nagini, so I can show everybody? And just, although she's just a normal, ball python, she's not a mutation or have any of these cool banding or waving. After a shed, anyone who has a snake just knows how majestic your snake looks after the shed. Just clean, shiny, healthy. Not that they're unhealthy or unclean when they're shedding, but they just come out with such a pristine look, right? This came off of this. So when this is on here, she just looks, they look more dull. Right? And now she looks just amazing. And she's come such a long way. And why don't I just do the last thing to kind of show you, underneath, there's her little scar right there from where she had that issue. That was where she was bit by a live feeder. It's healed. It sheds just fine, but she'll always have a scar. Okay, guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about snake shed, learning some quick tips to control the humidity in your cage, and just checking out Nagini and back, because like I said, she's come a long way from when I first got her with you guys, and she was just a ravaged, live-eating beast to the most tame, friendly ball python you could ever hope for. A lot of people have been scared of snakes. I've brought her out, and it changes their opinion completely. Okay, guys, take care.